Since reading The Sun Also Rises, I'm not sure which remembered events Hem made up and which actually happened. He worked himself into the confidence of the local professionals and saturated himself to the bursting point.
Of all the countries that he went to, the one that felt most comfortable was Spain. He really identified with the Spanish people. He liked their philosophy. He liked their whole attitude toward life. He liked the fact that their number one, at that time, that their number one passion was the bullfight. And he became hooked on this drama of a wild beast and a man and the whole tradition, hundreds of years old. It was almost a religious thing.
I looked through the glasses and saw the three matadors. Romero was in the center, Belmonte on his left, Marcial on his right. Romero was wearing a black suit. His tri-cornered hat was low down over his eyes. Pedro Romero took off his heavy gold brocaded cape and handed it over the fence to his sword handler. The sword handler took the cape, looked up at Brett, and came over to us. "Spread it out in front of you," I said. The sword handler looked back, shook his head. Romero poured water over the percale of his fighting cape, and then scuffed the lower folds in the sand with his slippered foot. "What's that for?" Brett asked. "To give it weight in the wind."
Hemingway always wanted a real market. He wanted bestsellerdom, and he was not going to get that from short stories. Plus, there was the prestige angle. There was the great American novel. Had, heavens forbid, his good friend, of whom he was often jealous, F. Scott Fitzgerald, had he written the great American novel in Great Gatsby? Hemingway somewhere suspected that he had. He was not about to let that challenge go by. So Hemingway, the competitor, couldn't be just short stories. He had to be the contender.
Pedro Romero had the greatness. He loved bullfighting, and I think he loved Brett. Everything of which he could control the locality, he did in front of her all that afternoon. Never once did he look up. He did it all for himself inside, and it strengthened him. And yet he did it for her, too.